The views and opinions expressed by the guest author or speaker during this live session are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of Reader's Magnet. The content shared is for informational purposes only and does not constitute endorsement or promotion of any particular belief, ideology, or product.
Yes, hello, authors, book lovers, and storytellers. Welcome to another session here in Reader's Magnet's featured author interview. My name is Leah, and I will be your host for today. And with me is one of the Reader's Magnet's featured author. And today, yes, she will be sharing to us what this book is all about, her as an author, and of course, what inspired her to write this book. So, yes, everyone, let's all welcome our one and only Miss Chinyere Echefu, author of the book the Tragedy of Desire. Yes, hello, Miss Chinyere. How are you doing? It's good to see you again. How are you?
I'm fine, Miss Leah. Thank you for having me again.
Yes, yes,
Hello, friends, book lovers. Yes, it's me. My name is
right.
Monica Chinyere Echefu Adeleke. My pen name is Chinyere Echefu, the author of The Tragedy of Desire. This is a book
Yes, that's her.
written long
Mm-hmm.
time ago in 1986 when I was
Mm,
just coming out of the high school. When I noticed that there
wow.
was a lot of unemployment, I sought for job. Young school leavers looked for job. There was nothing. And in the frustration,
Mm,
one day I heard a voice telling me, write against social ills. And the social ill that time was unemployment. And young men,
mm,
young girls, I remember some of them were caught and they were killed because they were peddling drugs. And that actually affected me so much that I
mm,
started, thinking about it every day. But when the voice came and said, start writing. So I started writing. As a matter of fact, if you can research, this book is the first book written against social ill that has to do with prostitution and the
oh,
problems young adults have in Nigeria. As a matter of fact, when
mm,
you go through this book, you will understand that it is not just for Nigeria, but all over
mm-hmm.
the world, what young adults go through. Because somehow we lack the real knowledge. Thank you for
Right.
having me once again, Leah.
Wow, thank you so much for that, Chinri. And you know what? Yes, it is such an honor for Reader's Magnet to be given this chance again to talk with you, to tackle more information about your book. And yes, of course, Chinri, we are very excited to know more about that. So you mentioned earlier that this book is about the young woman, which is seeking to improve her family's circumstances in specific place. And right now, it's also about highlighting the lack of job opportunities of women's young women out there. So yeah, can you tell us more about what exactly this book, Chinieri?
This book, the content of this book will tells the story about what the baby girl suffers, especially in
Mm,
Nigeria, where the culture does not promote the baby girl. That when a child is born and it's a girl, it means that the mother actually has no stand or seat in the husband's home. As a matter of fact, one of the characters in this book, Stella,
mm-hmm.
when her dad
Stella.
died, her mother was stripped of everything about the father, and the father was a rich man. And that was what pushed her into prostitution. She,
Mm,
Stella, mentored the main character of this book, Nkechi, another girl from another family.
Nikechi.
Struggling.
Nikechi. Okay, so
Yes,
Nikechi is the main character in this
yes,
book.
yes. The main character of the book is Nkechi. She also found herself in a dilemma whereby she went after school, after graduation, she felt that now she could take care of her parents. After her parents had struggled very hard to train her in
Mm-hmm.
school, she came out and her mother sent her to Lagos to meet her uncle, Uncle Martin, who was rich. And when she got there, instead of getting her a job, she was made to be a house girl. In that house, she sat for 3 years without any salary or income, while her parents were dying, sick, and her children, her younger brothers and sister were at the verge of losing their chance to go to school. And it was then that she was asked to come home, get married so that they could use her bride price to train the boys. You see? So that's the problem
Whoa.
the girl has in Nigeria. And then I told this
Mm-hmm.
story so that the government will know what is happening
Mm-hmm.
and be able to at least do something to help the baby girl. To let
Right.
everybody know that whether you're a man or a girl, provided you can work, provided you can do something, you have a
Mm-hmm.
place. You can be a
Mm-hmm.
lawyer, you can be a doctor, you can be the president. You can also hold your father's name. But that was not happening then. I thank God.
Mm-hmm.
And then we continue to fight for the baby girl and also for the
Mm-hmm.
youth of our nations.
Wow, that is so powerful and interesting, Chinyere. Because you know what, the characters in your book, ensnared by their desires, that it could also often face moral dilemmas and emotional turmoil. At the same time, illustrating the delicate balance between, yearning of fulfillment and at the same time coping with its consequences. And you know
Yep.
what? Yeah, can you also share to us, Chanieri, what inspired you to write this book? Like, when did you have the courage? When did you start jotting down notes that, hey, I wanted to be the voice of these women who's not able to speak and to stand for themselves, still facing this struggle. Like, when did you start doing this?
I have a personal story.
How about the journey? Mm-hmm.
When I was very young, I was very intelligent, but I was the last of my mother. My sisters were already married, and my brother already got married. So when I came out, though I was intelligent in school, being among the first three, uh,
Mm-hmm.
wherever I go to school, but I was not going to go to the high school because there was no money and my father was not ready to train me in school. So I had to beckon my brother. I asked my brother to help me so that I can go to school because I really want to become someone. And my brother told me women's education ends in kitchen. So you should
Wow.
go and sit down, help mommy at home. When you grow up, you
Mm-hmm.
get married because there was no need to
Mm-hmm.
put you in school. And then I was determined.
Mm-hmm.
That was the determination to be someone and not to end my education in the kitchen. That was my
Mm-hmm.
driving force. So when
Wow.
I was able to go to the university and came out and there was no job for me, it was a slap on my face. And then I struggled every day. I remembered writing application, trekking from one school to the other, submitting application, about 10 of them. I went to 10 private schools to get to submit my application, but I didn't get a job. I also remembered a day that the federal government um, organized an interview for teachers.
Mm-hmm.
I had my certificate as a teacher. I went.
Wow.
There were more than 2,000 people that came for the interview. They wanted only 6. And when we were there,
Whoa.
we found out that
Mm-hmm.
the cyst had already been employed. This was too much. So when I was walking back home, I
Mm-hmm.
could hear the voice telling me, right, right, because there was no other way I could fight. The only way I could fight was to write it down, either to publish it or just write it down.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Probably if there were social media in those days, maybe I could
Mm-hmm.
have gone to the social media and started blogging and tweeting about it. But then that was not, so
Right.
I had to write it. Mind you, I
Mm-hmm.
wrote this in 1986. I had no money to
Mm-hmm.
publish it. It was accepted for publication by the concept publication. However, it was not published because I couldn't produce the money they asked me. So I kept it
Mm-hmm.
until when I came to America. The only pen I know I had was the manuscript. And so when I worked and was able to save some money, I started retyping and then setting it out again for publication. Finally, it was. So it
Right.
was
Wow.
the ills, the things that were happening in my
Mm-hmm.
community, and especially to me, that
Mm-hmm.
made me start writing it. Because I could see young girls, going from
Mm-hmm.
one man to the other in the street. And then I asked
Mm-hmm.
me, is that what I'm going to do? I
Yes.
see them
Do something.
see them in order to survive. I told you this is survival because they couldn't get. I met a friend, a very good friend I knew. She was in a hotel, and then what are you doing there? She couldn't explain herself, but that's where she was living. So
Mm-hmm.
that was when the message started coming. And then we had stories of people who just leave their parents, go to other cities, and then they come home with money and they were not working. They did not go to school. What is going on? Prostitution,
Mm-hmm.
selling themselves. And some of them I knew were killed because they were peddling drugs. This were too much on me.
Right.
And that was why I
Mm-hmm.
had to write them down.
Wow, you know what, Chenier, you are truly inspirational. I mean, you know what? We are so proud of you. Why? Because you're doing this to become the voice of those who cannot speak for themselves. Those women out there who's facing the same, let's say, situation, struggle, that doesn't have the voice to speak out and
Yes,
ask for help. This is, sometimes you can really think of, this quest for wealth. When we say wealth, it could really push someone or an individual to make extreme choices, like, just like what you stated earlier, selling their bodies in hopes of gaining the validation from our society, or let's say a family. This situation often arises from societal pressures, and yes, at the same time, financial difficulties, because poverty would really limit a woman's access to education, the healthcare, economic opportunities. It could also push them to prioritize survival over long-term goals. This
that's
would
right.
really restrict their, right,
That's right.
the choices, limited choices that they have, which would really increase the vulnerability of exploitation, the cycle of the disadvantage for her family, making it difficult to really invest in, what we know about the personal growth, or secure meaningful employment and escape poverty. Just like what you mentioned earlier, this is really something, I mean, government should do something about this, or communities should do something about this, to really create a safe space for sharing feelings and challenges, to listen um, these women without judgment, validate the experience they have, promote open conversation, because it could really foster respect and understanding, to really empower individuals out there to express themselves, on how to um let's say enhance this supportive environment, encouraging them to have this kind of engagement for growth. And you know what, you're one of the person who's already doing this, Chinyere, by creating this book. You just don't know that there's a lot of people that you can really help, and we are so proud of you. That's amazing. Wow,
Thank
you are
you.
truly amazing, Chinyere.
Thank you so
All
much.
right. Now, also, Chanier, before we end our session, is there any message that you'd like to, give to our viewers, or let's say here, I wanted to start this question. Oh, what do you think your readers will take away, after reading your book?
I'm just going to read the final saying here, just
Okay.
a sentence. I know that girls who are selling their body to get money, if they have alternative to that, they will not do that. I know they cannot kill. I know they cannot steal. I know they've decided it's my body. I use it how I want to use it so that I can stay alive and my family can stay alive. I know that. And my message to you, baby girl, my message to you, my young boys that are suffering, that are walking the streets, especially in my country, that are fishing around the internet, looking for lovers, looking for someone that can give them help. And no, it is not all your fault that you are doing that. I know that your country failed you. I know that the school system you went failed you. I know also that the society failed you. But let me tell you one thing, do not fail yourself. Do not fail yourself. There are places you can get help. Speak about yourself. Tell someone about what you are going through. There must be somewhere, someone to help you. And I am
Mm.
a woman of God, and I believe it that if you
Amen to that, Chinyere.
can ask for God to forgive you, He is ready to forgive you, and you will think clearer and you make better plan, and your life can turn. If my life turn, yours can turn several times. So I am encouraging you. If you want to do something, read this book. There is a lot in it that you can learn that can help you to channel your life better. And even if your life is better, there are people around you that you could advise. This book is also like a handbook. They can help you to give a good and working advice to someone who is falling by the way.
Right.
Thank you.
Wow. Thank you so much for that, Chanier. And yes, everyone, for our viewers, this book is a narrative is it this narrative serves not only as a gripping story of ambition and sacrifice, but at the same time it also, as a mirror of reflecting challenges, societal challenges, sparking important conversations about the lens individuals go to for, let's say, financial stability and the moral dilemmas that accompany such choices. But then again, we should not forget that despite these obstacles, many women show resilience and actively work to enhance their communities and advocate for their rights, just like what Ms. Chinyere Echefu is doing right now. Growing organizations and movements focus on women's empowerment as a signal or a gradual progress towards greater equality and opportunities for women in places, not just in Nigeria, but women in places. And again, Ms. Chinyere Echefu, we are very proud of you. That you come up with this book because you could really help a lot of people out there, a lot of women out there. And thank you so much for also choosing Readers Magnet to be part of this journey. We truly love you. Thank you so much, Mr. Nyeri.
Thank you so much, Leah. Thank you for
Right.
accommodating
Yeah.
me. Yeah.
Thank you so much. And yes, for our viewers out there, if you wanted to grab this book, yes, it's available in Amazon.com, Barnes& and Noble, and Uso. Please do check Missionary Echefu's website. That's www.chistenwrites.blog. Again, that's in Amazon.com, Barnes& and Noble, and her website. That's www.chistenwrites.blog. So again, Mr. Echefu, thank you so much for gracing with us today. And yes, everyone, this is our author, Ms. Chinyere Echefu, author of the book, The Tragedy of Desire. Again,
Oh, yeah.
thank you so much, Ms. Echefu. Yeah, show your book again to our viewers. There. And it's also on the center of our screen. Yes. Okay. Thank you so much, Ms. Echefu. And yes, as we say it here in Reader's Magnet, we share your story with the world. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Thank you. Proud of you.